Hello again. We are Chris Lee, Blake Lovell, and Max Barr of Southeastern 14 here to preview the rematch Texas A&M after knocking off Tennessee in College Station a few weeks ago and doing that with authority. He's going to see if he can do it again. It goes to Thompson Boling Arena. No, I'm sorry, Food City Arena. They've still got us Thompson Boling on ESPN.
I just
fight. Like Ron Burgundy. We got a food. I just like Ron Burgundy. I just read what was in front of me, but I shouldn't. We have a food fight. It was a fight the first time around. Well, not for as long as I would have thought, but now it's a food fight. Before we get into food fighting and all that comes with that, a reminder that this is brought to you by BetOnline, which continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year with up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends. You can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting contests and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or your mobile devices. Head to BetOnline today. Become part of the team. Remember to use your promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. Well, guys, if you look at the KenPom profile in conference, at the matchup of this one, it looks like we had a food fight with – I don't know, beets and broccoli, because there's red and green all over the page here. Max, I'm just going to let you take it from there.
Yeah.
And by the way, KenPom has got Tennessee by 11, I think.
Yeah, I was just going to get to that. This is probably going to be a double-digit spread here. Most likely around 10.5 probably. Tennessee is going to be favored by probably 3 or 4 possessions here. When you look at the KenPom matchups and the analytical matchups, it's just night and day. It's Texas A&M's offense. Other than their offensive rebounding and free throws, we know what that has been. They are dead last in the SEC in 3-point percentage and 2-point percentage. And we obviously know what the Tennessee defense, although it has regressed a little bit from last year, it's still up there at the top of the SEC. I think they're number 2 in the SEC right now in defense. But then also what Tennessee's been able to do offensively is take care of the basketball. They're number 1 in the conference in offensive turnover percentage. They've done a great job at that. So you look at the numbers and it's going to tell you Tennessee. That's what it's going to tell you. Other than rebounding, A&M's going to be outmatched in pretty much every analytical stat you want to look at. So take what you will from that. This is a Texas A&M team that's very old, and they've lost 3 straight, and now their backs are more against the wall than they have been all season. So that's a dangerous team, especially when you have Wade Taylor who could go off for 40 on any given night. It's going to be tough, though. It's going to be tough. I have my doubts in this matchup. The one thing I do want to touch on for A&M, and a thing that I was talking about this back in June, July, was how are they going to replace Dexter Dennis? And Blake, actually, I feel like it was just a few weeks ago we were talking about how much they missed Dexter Dennis. Well, they've kind of found their man at the 3. Jace Carter has kind of been on a little bit of a hot streak. He's had 2 or more made threes in 4 out of the last 5 games. So you're getting some scoring, some perimeter scoring at the 3 spot that you weren't getting earlier in conference play. So that kind of takes a little bit of the load off Radford and Taylor, but we know how teams shoot threes at Food City Arena. So we'll see, but that's what the numbers are showing.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you being optimistic about Texas A&M.
I tried.
Because I'm not going to be. They're going into this game on the road at the Food City Arena. And I don't know what they've eaten, but it's going to be coming out bricks, if you know what I mean. Because the Texas A&M Aggies are – I just don't know. I know what happened the first game, okay? But we said in that game, this is the ultimate spot for Texas A&M. We've been really good at, picking our spots this year with some of these teams. And we said we thought this was probably a decent opportunity. A&M had just won 2 in a row. They had beaten Florida at home. Tennessee was coming off of, what was the game? They'd beaten LSU at home. That had come after the Kentucky game.
Yeah.
We're just like, this is one of those games where you could absolutely see it. Although I'm sure we all picked Tennessee. You could absolutely see this for Texas A&M. And everything went right. And what did they do in that game? They hit 11 threes in that game. How many times this season has Texas A&M hit 11 threes in a basketball game? Let me tell you. They've done it 1, 2, 3 other times. One was against Texas A&M Commerce. One was against DePaul. One was against Kentucky. Oh, boy. That's about it. So 3 defensive teams that I don't think are quite on the level of the Tennessee Volunteers. So I don't call that a trend. I call that just a complete outlier. If Texas A&M hits 11 threes again in this game, then, hey, good for them, because it's just not something that I think you can expect going in. And I just thought that was one of those nights where A&M had everything in their favor. Tennessee just did not play well. It was what was the discussion we were having afterwards, right? Who's going to score aside from Dalton Connect? Well, I think we're going to find out in this game that the Vols have revenge on the mind, and I just think they're going to defend to the point to where A&M cannot get the same type of shots, because Tennessee is just, they're still a great defensive team. And I think that, like you said, Max, even if you look at some of the numbers, you're like, okay, maybe they're not what they were a year ago. This team has reset after the last game. They've won 3 in a row. They've defended really well. And I think they're coming in here with a chip on their shoulder to try to do the same thing to A&M that they did to them a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you know, I guess we'll just go ahead and start with predictions here, because I don't think there's a lot more to unpack. I mean, when a game is a double-digit favorite, especially in the favorites building, you gotta do some gymnastics to get there on how this would happen. You saw the blueprint the first time, but I think that was sort of a fever dream game for Texas A&M in that one. It shot, what was it, 53% from 2, 39% from 3. It jumped on Tennessee early. I don't know that we've seen A&M play that well all year. I don't know that we've seen Tennessee play that poorly. And maybe that was correlated. Maybe that's just how good A&M was that night, made Tennessee look bad. I don't know. I don't care. All I know is I'd be shocked if A&M goes into Food City in a revenge matchup for Tennessee and gets one. I'm taking Tennessee, and I'm not even thinking about it. Max?
Yeah, even I just kind of went over how Jace Carter has added a scoring punch over the last few games. And A&M has dropped 3 in a row. Their totals in these last 3, 71, 75, 73. I would be shocked they get over 70 in this game. Shocked with how they've been scoring the ball. So, along with you, Chris, kind of makes me nervous, because whenever we're this confident, things go south quick. But I'll take Tennessee too in the rematch here.
Tennessee has allowed more than 71 points at home, I think, only once this season.
It ain't happening.
That was to Illinois. 86-79 victory. Alabama scored 71 against them, but A&M's not Alabama when it comes to the offense. And so, yeah, I think that this is just a game where, you know, Tennessee, revenge on the mind. A&M's on a 3-game losing streak. They're playing their way out of the NCAA tournament right now, even though some people just still think they're in, and maybe they are as of today. But this isn't a loss that really hurts you, I guess. But, I mean, it's also one where if you get blown out, it doesn't help you any either. Right. And so we just saw them get blown out at Alabama. I tend to think this one will be closer than we maybe will give it credit for, just because I think there also is something to, does a team just have another team's number? Do they just match up well with them? Maybe it turns out A&M does with Tennessee, and maybe it's just Wade Taylor and Tyrese Radford making a bunch of huge plays, and because that was enough last time. That was really all they needed. And so those 2 guys are good enough to do it, but are they good enough to do it on the road against a team that outside the South Carolina game has been, you know, just unbeatable at home, and it's just been, you know, throttling teams in Knoxville? So all that to say, give me that. I'm just kidding. I'm taking the Vols in this game. Give me the Tennessee Volunteers. Number 2 in your power rankings. number one in your hearts. Give me the Vols in Knoxville.
This is known as the Southeastern 14 Kiss of Death when we all three pick against a particular team. I think Tennessee's good enough to even overcome the Kiss of Death. We'll find out. We'll be here to recap this one.
That was big, Chris.
That's
that was
where
a
you
big
went wrong.
line right there.
I just
Aggies.
gave A&M a chance. We root for these to be. It's no good when we sit here on a Saturday and it's a 30-point game in the second half. We need these to be close. We need these to be interesting. We do what we can.
Well,
You're
you
welcome,
just
Aggies.
guaranteed a close game.
Right.
Oh boy, Chris, I don't know. I don't know about what you just did there.
Oh gosh.
I'm a little nervous now.
There's a madness to the method.
A lot of Tennessee fans. A lot of bricks. All right.
Proving we're not above 8th grade humor here at Southeastern 14. We will be here to recap this later, perhaps in an 8th grade humor manner. We'll wait and see what the basketball universe gives us. Best way to get that, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, tell a friend. For Blake Lovell, Max Barr, I'm Chris Lee. We're Southeastern 14, presented by Bet Online.